Good morning, my brothers and sisters. It is the 220th episode of Be With Me, 7 minutes of biblical wonder and wondering. Yesterday we talked about the couple of concepts of the Trinity and intimacy that Jesus has with the Father and his claim to be God in referring to the Exodus 3:14 tetragrammaton where Jesus says, I am the I am. And then the concept of him being lifted up and, in a sense, claiming godliness by that claim. So today we are going to we're going to, in a sense, stop talking about Jesus. We're going to talk about ourselves, and we're going to talk about ourselves being slaves to sin and how we may get out of that problem. So at the end of Jesus' claims yesterday to saying, I am he, and as he was saying these things, many believed in him. And in today's passage is from John 8:31. So Jesus said to the Jews who had believed in him, so this is a charge to believers and a carrot on a stick for unbelievers. So Jesus said to the Jews who had believed in him, if you abide in my word, you are truly my disciples. And you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. They answered him, we are offspring of Abraham and have never been enslaved to anyone. How is it that you say you will become free? Jesus answered them, truly, truly, I say to you, everyone who commits sin is a slave to sin. The slave does not remain in the house forever. The Son remains forever. So if the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed. I know that you are, I'm not sure if he's talking to the same group of people here. I know that you are offspring of Abraham, yet you seek to kill me because my word finds no place in you. I speak of what I have seen with my father, and you do what you have heard from your father. I think he's addressing a different audience there. So the first part of that is Jesus is addressing Jews who believed in him. And then he says to them, if you abide in my word, you are truly my disciples. And then he introduces a concept that belief does not stop with belief, that there's more to do. You're supposed to be abiding when you after you become a believer. You're supposed to stay connected, and there's supposed to be some evidence, some fruit, if you will, of your abiding with the Lord. Perseverance is the test of reality. Persistence is a test of reality. Continuance is a test of reality. So how do you know who are Jesus's followers? How do you know who are his believers? And that is those that continue in the faith will give evidence of that. Those who practice the moral will of God, that is an evidence of abiding and a true conversion. Verse 32, set free. So there's this concept in this passage about freedom and slavery, and the Jews are offended. They answered and said, we're the offspring of Abraham and have never been enslaved to anyone. Apparently they have short historical memories there, but probably they're saying for our lifetimes of 20 or 40 or 60 years, I've never been enslaved to anyone. What in the world are you talking about? You're telling me I'm not the master of my own kingdom. Here's Jesus's point, is with regards to sin. We talked yesterday and the day before about the collection of sins that we have. And Jesus says, if you don't believe in me and follow me, you're going to be responsible for that. So not only the condition of sin, but the company of sin and the collection of sin that you carry through your life. At the end of your life, when you die in your sins, you're going to be responsible for that, and you're in big trouble because you don't have the resources to pay for those, if you will. What Jesus is saying is that with belief, I'm going to take the consequences of your sin away. And so the concept that I'd like to get to, and as I was thinking about today, is the then part. So that refers to the future, that Jesus takes a penalty for sin away from us in the future. What he's talking about in this passage is that you're supposed to live a better life now, and you're supposed to be free from your sins now during this life. It's so this get out of jail free card, if you will, is not just for then, it's also for now. That we're supposed to be able to live better and be free from sin now. So if you became a Christian, would anyone notice? What he's saying here is, yes, people are supposed to notice. You're supposed to be committing less sin, practicing less sin, conducting yourself differently, making regular manifestations of resistance to that, as opposed to everyone who commits sin or continues to practice sin demonstrates that they're a slave to sin. That's in verse 34. Verse 35, the slave does not remain in the house forever, but the son remains forever. He's promising an indwelling, a presence, a helper of the hardest thing in the world, which is to abide. We'll talk about that probably a little bit tomorrow. So as we conclude, people can say, I can't change, I've tried, it's hard, I have this whatever addiction, food addiction, alcohol addiction, sex addiction. What Jesus is saying is there is power in belief. There's ability to change. So the get out of jail free card, if you will, is not just from the penalty of sin, it's from the practice of sin now. So whether it's your words or gossip or being controlled in any particular way, or sloth or sneaking thinking or sexual proclivity, if you feel indentured to sin in any way, Jesus says, I have a way out of those things. I have a way that you can give evidence of the belief in your faith. And we'll find out about his key tomorrow. Thanks for listening.